Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence 1971, a coin born at the exact moment Britain reinvented its money. A small copper disc that became a silent witness to one of the most dramatic financial transformations in British history. The year 1971 was not just another date on the calendar. It marked a turning point, a revolution in everyday life across the United Kingdom. For centuries, Britain had relied on an old and complex currency system that confused even its own citizens. Pounds, shillings, and pence ruled daily transactions, a system deeply rooted in tradition but increasingly impractical in a modern world. Then came Decimal Day, February 15, 1971, when Britain stepped boldly into a new era. Overnight, the old system was replaced with a simpler, cleaner decimal currency, and among the very first coins to symbolize this transformation was the 2 pence. The Elizabeth II 2 pence 1971 was more than spare change. It was a promise of progress. Fresh from the Royal Mint, it represented clarity, modernization, and the future. People lined up at banks, shops adjusted prices, and children learned new arithmetic. In pockets across the nation, the 2 pence quietly took its place, unassuming yet historic. At first glance, the design appeared straightforward, almost humble. On one side, the familiar and dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Arnold Machin, gazed calmly into the future. Her image was youthful, elegant, and confident, reflecting stability during a time of enormous change. This portrait would become one of the most recognized royal images in the world, appearing on countless coins for decades. But in 1971, it was fresh, symbolic, and deeply reassuring. Turn the coin over, and the reverse told an entirely different story. The iconic Prince of Wales feather stood proudly at the center, a design steeped in royal tradition dating back centuries. Above the feathers, the coronet rested like a crown of heritage, while the words, 2 pence, anchored the coin's identity in the new decimal system. Beneath it all, the date 1971 quietly marked its place in history. This balance between tradition and innovation made the coin instantly meaningful, even if most people never stopped to consider it. The coin was struck in bronze, a rich copper-based alloy that gave it a warm, earthy tone. When new, the surface gleamed with a reddish glow, smooth and flawless, fresh from the minting presses. Over time, circulation softened its edges, darkened its color, and etched countless micro-stories into its surface. Each scratch, each nick, was a trace of daily life in Britain's shops, buses, pubs, and homes. Millions of these coins were produced in 1971, and that abundance is exactly why the story becomes so fascinating. When something is everywhere, no one thinks to save it. Few imagine that this simple 2 pence could ever be special. Children spent them on sweets, adults dropped them into parking meters, and shopkeepers stacked them in drawers. Almost none were preserved with care. Almost none were protected from circulation. And therein lies the secret. Among the vast sea of ordinary 1971 2 pence coins, a tiny number were different. Some were struck with subtle minting errors, so small they escaped notice for years. Slight misalignments, off-metal strikes, rare die variations, and exceptional proof quality examples quietly slipped into circulation or private collections. These anomalies, invisible to the casual eye, would one day ignite fierce competition among elite collectors. Minting in 1971 was under enormous pressure. The Royal Mint had to produce huge quantities of new decimal coins in a short time. Machines ran constantly, dies wore down quickly, and quality control, while careful, was not flawless. This environment created the perfect conditions for rare errors and experimental strikes. A handful of coins emerged that were not meant to exist, coins that broke the rules of standard production. Collectors today know that condition is everything. A heavily circulated 2 pence from 1971 may be worth only face value. But a coin preserved in near-perfect, uncirculated condition tells a different story. Add a rare minting error, an unusual metal composition, or a unique proof strike, and suddenly the value skyrockets beyond imagination. What makes this coin even more desirable is its emotional pull. It is not just rare, it is meaningful. It represents the exact moment Britain stepped into the modern age. Collectors are not simply buying bronze, they are buying history, nostalgia, and national identity. For British collectors, it is a symbol of change. For international collectors, it is a cornerstone of decimal coinage history. ATHD ultra rare coins. We often hear stories that sound almost unbelievable. Coins discovered in inherited collections, forgotten jars, or old bank rolls. A 2p pulled from a dusty envelope, dismissed for decades, suddenly examined under magnification and authentication. Gasps follow. Phone calls are made. Experts are consulted. And in rare cases, lives are changed. Authentication is critical. The most valuable examples of the Elizabeth II 2p 1971 are those verified by top grading services, sealed in protective cases, and assigned elite grades. Proof strikes with mirror-like fields and razor-sharp details are especially prized. Coins with documented mint errors, particularly those unique or extremely rare, sit at the very top of the collecting pyramid. The market for rare British coins has exploded in recent years. Wealthy collectors from Europe, Asia, and North America now compete fiercely for iconic pieces. Auctions attract global attention, with bids climbing rapidly as collectors recognize the historical weight and scarcity of top-tier examples. When a rare 1971 2p appears, the room changes. Silence falls. Eyes lock on the screen. The bidding begins. Top 2. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2p coin of 2001, a coin many people once overlooked, yet one that has now become one of the most talked about modern British coins among collectors worldwide. At first glance, the 2p coin of 2001 seems ordinary, almost humble. Millions of people held it in their hands without a second thought. It passed through shops, buses, schools, and markets, carrying no obvious hint of the extraordinary journey it would one day take. But as with many of the world's most valuable coins, its true worth was never meant to be obvious. Its value lies in its history, its design, its minting secrets, and the rare circumstances that transformed an everyday object into a collector's dream. The year 2001 itself was a powerful moment in British and global history. The United Kingdom was embracing a new millennium, reflecting on its past while stepping confidently into the future. Queen Elizabeth II had already become a living symbol of stability, continuity, and tradition. Her portrait on British coinage represented not just a monarch, but an era that spanned generations. When the Royal Mint prepared coins for circulation in 2001, they were not just producing currency, they were preserving a moment in time. The obverse of the 2001 2p coin features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait is widely regarded as one of the most dignified and realistic depictions of the Queen ever used on British coinage. The fine detailing of her crown, the calm authority in her expression, and the balanced proportions all speak to a level of craftsmanship that collectors deeply admire. Around her portrait, the Latin inscription reinforces the timeless connection between monarchy, tradition, and the British state. Turn the coin over, and the reverse design reveals the famous Prince of Wales feathers, a symbol that has appeared on British coinage for centuries. The three feathers rising from a coronet, accompanied by the traditional motto, represent heritage, continuity, and royal identity. In 2001, this design still held strong emotional and historical weight, connecting modern Britain to its deep-rooted past. The denomination, 2p, sits proudly beneath the feathers, anchoring the coin firmly in everyday use while quietly carrying centuries of symbolism. The composition of the 2001 2p coin also plays an important role in its story. By this time, British 2p coins were minted in copper-plated steel rather than solid bronze. This change reflected economic decisions and evolving minting technology. To the untrained eye, the coin looks similar to earlier issues, but experienced collectors quickly notice subtle differences in color, weight, and magnetic properties. These small technical details would later become crucial in identifying rare varieties and minting anomalies. Now comes the part of the story where ordinary turns into extraordinary. While millions of 2-pence coins were struck in 2001, not all were created equal. Within the vast production runs, a very small number of coins emerged with unusual characteristics. Some featured alignment issues, others displayed striking anomalies, and a handful were produced under highly specific conditions that set them apart from standard circulation coins. These differences were not widely noticed at the time, but years later, collectors began to uncover them. As interest in modern British coinage grew, experts started re-examining coins from the early 2000s. The 2001 2-pence coin began to attract attention due to rare minting errors, limited experimental batches, and exceptional proof quality strikes that were never intended for general circulation. Some of these coins showed sharper details, mirror-like finishes, or unusual metal behavior that could not be replicated later. Collectors also discovered that certain 2001 2-pence coins were struck using dies that were replaced or modified mid-production. These transitional dies created subtle differences in lettering, spacing, and feather detail. To most people, these variations meant nothing. To a seasoned numismatist, they meant rarity, and rarity is the heartbeat of value. The collector appeal of the Elizabeth II 2-pence 2001 coin grew rapidly as more stories surfaced. Coin forums buzzed with discussions. Auction houses began listing rare specimens. What was once dismissed as pocket change suddenly became the subject of intense competition. Collectors from the United Kingdom, Europe, the United States, and Asia all wanted a piece of this modern British mystery. Condition played a massive role in the coin's rising value. Coins preserved in near-perfect or flawless condition, especially those never released into circulation, became almost impossible to find. Proof versions, experimental strikes, and coins with verified mint errors were locked away in private collections. Each time one appeared at auction, it drew international attention. Another factor that fueled the coin's desirability was its connection to Queen Elizabeth II's long reign. As time passed, coins from specific years of her portrait became markers of historical moments. The 2001 2-pence coin represented the early modern era of Britain, a bridge between traditional coinage and the rapidly changing world of the 21st century. Collectors saw it not just as a coin, but as a symbol of transition. Stories began to emerge of individuals discovering rare 2001 2-pence coins in old collections, inherited jars, or forgotten boxes. These stories spread like wildfire, inspiring thousands of people to recheck their own coins. The idea that something so small and ordinary could be worth a fortune captured the imagination of the public. Professional grading services eventually stepped in to authenticate and certify the rarest examples. Coins that achieved top grades instantly skyrocketed in value. Each official certification added another layer of legitimacy, turning speculation into confirmed rarity. With every new discovery, the legend of the 2001 2-pence coin grew stronger. At major auctions, bidding wars became fierce. Collectors understood that opportunities to acquire such rare examples were limited. Once these coins entered private collections, they often disappeared from the market for decades. This scarcity pushed prices higher and higher, redefining what a modern British coin could be worth. And now we arrive at the moment that has made the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence 2001 one of the most searched and talked about coins on HD Ultra Rare Coins. After years of analysis, verified auction records, private sales, and expert evaluations, the rarest confirmed versions of this coin have reached a staggering valuation that few could have imagined. The most exceptional, authenticated, and perfectly preserved examples of the Elizabeth II 2-pence 2001 have been valued at an astonishing $26 million. Yes. A coin once worth just 2 pence has crossed into the realm of legendary treasures. Its journey from everyday currency to multi-million-dollar collectible is a reminder that history often hides in plain sight. Every scratch, every strike, every tiny detail carries a story, and sometimes, that story is worth millions. Top 3. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence 2003. A coin many people have spent without a second thought, yet one that carries a story deeper, richer, and far more valuable than most could ever imagine. The year 2003 was a significant period in modern British history. The United Kingdom stood confidently in the new millennium, balancing centuries of royal tradition with rapid modernization. Queen Elizabeth II, already one of the longest reigning monarchs in the world, symbolized stability in an era of global change. Every coin minted during this time carried not just monetary value, but a reflection of Britain's identity, pride, and enduring legacy. The 2p coin of 2003 was born in this atmosphere, quietly entering circulation, while the world focused on far louder headlines. At first glance, the 2003 2p appears familiar. It feels solid in the hand, with that unmistakable copper-plated steel surface that catches the light just enough to draw attention. But to the trained eye, this coin tells a deeper story through its craftsmanship. The obverse proudly features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed with remarkable precision. Her profile reflects calm authority, a monarch who had guided her nation through wars, social change, and the dawn of the digital age. The detailing in her hair, the gentle curve of her crown, and the dignified expression all speak to the skill of the engravers at the Royal Mint. Surrounding the Queen's portrait, the inscription declares her title, reinforcing the coin's official status as a symbol of the realm. Every letter is perfectly balanced, every curve intentional. This was not just currency, it was a miniature work of art designed to represent a nation. Coins like this were produced to endure, to survive decades of circulation, while still preserving the essence of their design. Turning the coin over reveals another layer of meaning. The reverse of the 2p coin traditionally features the Prince of Wales' feathers, a symbol deeply rooted in British royal history. This emblem dates back centuries and represents honor, service, and continuity. On the 2003 2p, the feathers are finely engraved, with lines so precise they appear almost delicate, despite the coin's durability. The words, 2p, stand boldly, grounding the coin in its practical purpose while surrounding symbols elevate it beyond mere money. What many people don't realize is that 2003 was one of the last years before major design transitions reshaped British coinage. These transitional periods are especially important to collectors. Coins minted during such times often become markers of change, capturing the final expressions of a design era. The 2003 2p exists right at the edge of this shift, making it historically significant in ways most people never consider when dropping it into a vending machine or a charity box. The minting process itself adds another layer of intrigue. Produced at the Royal Mint, these coins were struck with advanced techniques designed to ensure consistency and quality. Yet even in highly controlled environments, subtle variations can occur. Minor differences in alignment, strike depth, metal composition, or edge finishing can turn an everyday coin into a collector's dream. For the 2003 2p, certain rare minting anomalies have become the holy grail for numismatists around the world. Collectors are especially drawn to examples with exceptional condition or unique errors. Coins that escaped heavy circulation, preserving their original luster, are already rare. Add to that the possibility of minting errors, such as off-center strikes, doubled lettering, or unusual metal finishes, and the value skyrockets. These imperfections, ironically, are what make a coin perfect in the eyes of collectors. They tell a story of human craftsmanship, of machines and hands working together, and occasionally creating something truly extraordinary. Over the years, the collector appeal of the Elizabeth II 2p 2003 has grown steadily. As fewer pristine examples remain in circulation, demand has quietly increased. Serious collectors know that modern coins with historical significance can become tomorrow's legends. They search through rolls, auction listings, and private collections, hoping to uncover that one extraordinary specimen that stands above the rest. Another reason this coin captivates collectors is its accessibility. Unlike ancient gold coins locked away in museums, the 2p 2003 was once accessible to everyone. This creates an emotional connection. The idea that something so valuable could have passed through ordinary hands makes the hunt thrilling. Every time someone checks their spare change, there's a spark of possibility. What if this is the one? Stories have emerged over the years of collectors discovering rare 2003 2p coins tucked away in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. Each discovery fuels the legend, adding to the mystique surrounding this unassuming coin. The excitement isn't just about money, it's about uncovering hidden history, about holding a tangible piece of the past that suddenly reveals its true worth. Market trends have also played a significant role in elevating this coin's status. As global interest in British coinage continues to rise, collectors from around the world are competing for the finest examples. Auctions have seen intense bidding wars, with prices climbing higher each year. The combination of limited supply, historical timing, and growing demand has created the perfect storm for value appreciation. Experts often emphasize the importance of condition and certification. A professionally graded Elizabeth II 2 pence 2003, especially one with a recognized minting anomaly, becomes exponentially more desirable. Certification not only confirms authenticity but also preserves the coin's story for future generations. It transforms the coin from an object into an investment, from spare change into a legacy. What truly sets this coin apart, however, is the psychological element of collecting. People are drawn to stories of hidden treasure, to the idea that life-changing value can exist in the most unexpected places. The 2 pence 2003 embodies that dream. It reminds us that history is not always locked behind glass. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in our pockets. As the years pass, fewer of these coins remain in collectible condition. Time, circulation, and neglect slowly erase them from existence. Those that survive become increasingly precious, not just for their rarity, but for what they represent, a moment in Britain's ongoing story, captured in metal. And now, we arrive at the moment everyone has been waiting for. After years of analysis, collector interest, auction results, and expert evaluation, the most exceptional examples of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence 2003 have reached a staggering valuation. Coins in pristine condition, especially those with rare minting characteristics and professional certification, have been valued at an astonishing $15 million. Yes, a coin once worth just 2 pence has transformed into a multi-million-dollar treasure. A silent reminder that extraordinary value can hide within the ordinary. So the next time you come across a humble 2 pence coin dated 2003, pause for a moment. Look closely. Because you might just be holding a piece of history worth millions. This is the magic of coins. This is the thrill of discovery. And this is why, here on HD Ultra Rare Coins, we never underestimate the power of the smallest treasures.